I call to order the Waverly City Council for December 18th, 2017. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as distributed by our city clerk, Carla Geyer?
Move approval of the agenda?
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion seconded, council discussion. All in favor signify with yes.
Yes.
Those with no, unanimously approved. Is there a motion to approve the November 20th and December 4th minutes as distributed by our city clerk as well?
So moved.
It's been motioned. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion seconded, council discussion. All in favor signify with yes.
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 Unanimously approved. At this time, we will have the presentation of plaques to Mr. Lampy, Mr. Resnicek, Mr. Gade, and myself. So I think we're going to kind of gather right there.
On behalf of the City of Waverly and the residents and staff, I want to thank all of you for your service, your dedication, commitment to the city itself. And I'll start with Dave Rezicek, at-large council member. Thank you, Dave. Dan Lampy, First Ward Council member. Wes Gade, Third Ward. Mayor Charlie. Thank you, sir. What's that?
We need James up there.
Squeeze together, guys.
Is he in the middle?
No, you're on. Be next to Dave. Be next to Dave.
For the watching audience,
I was just waiting for you, sir.
we are, oh.
Stand up there again,
I
so-
thought you were, okay. At this time, we'll have our city administrator, James Bronner, administer the oath of office to our next mayor, Dean Soash. Dean, would you please come forward?
All right. You raise your right hand, sir. Repeat after me. I, Dean Soash,
I, Dean Soares,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and I will faithfully and impartially,
and I will faithfully and impartially,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
discharge all duties
discharge all duties
of the office of mayor for the city of Waverly, Iowa,
of the office of mayor for the city of Waverly, Iowa,
as now or hereinafter required by law.
as now and hereafter required by law.
Let us rise. At this time, I will entertain any comments by the public on any items that are not on tonight's agenda. Any items by the public not on tonight's agenda. Mr. Soash.
I think I can get through this. First of all, I would like to publicly thank the citizens of Waverly, I think, for the honor they've bestowed upon me. Second of all, I would like to thank my family and friends and campaign people for their undying support through this whole ordeal. My wife is here, my son and grandson.
Could you introduce by name? I think it'd be nice.
My wife Sandy is over there. My son and daughter-in-law, Jeff and Sue Soash. My grandson and his wife back in the corner. And Bentley, that was my secret weapon. Bentley was an undying. And James, I don't know if there's money in the budget or not, but could you put an extra desk in my office?
I'll find one.
That we can have a room for Bentley when he comes to visit, because I'm
We'll
sure
get it
he'll
done.
be here.
We'll get it done.
And my sister and brother-in-law from Bristol are here, Jane and Jack Brown, right up here in front. So I think that's all of my relatives that are here. But so again, I thank you all. Thank all of them for their support. And lastly, I'm looking forward to working with the city staff. But I also want to thank Mayor Infelt and all of the council people, not only those that are not returning, but the incumbents, for their service to the community of Waverly. And I think they deserve another round of applause. And with that,
Dean, thank you.
Carla, you're gonna be an invaluable help. So that's really all I have to say this evening. We're looking forward to the council meeting January 8th when we kick off a new regime. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments by the public on any items not on tonight's agenda? Eric.
I just got a request from my editor to have both Mr. Soash, Mayor Infelt, as well as the three retiring council members, as well as Soash's family, to hang around after the meeting for a group photo.
That is a comment not on tonight's agenda. It passes. Other comments by the public? We have 4 items on tonight's consent calendar. They are a Feldman concrete bill for sidewalk work. We have an ACOM bill for the southeast flood protection work. We have a McClure engineering bill for 20th Street, and we have a Cersei Dynex bill for the library. Is there a motion?
Move approval of the consent agenda.
Second, please.
Second.
Motion seconded. All in favor signify with yes.
Yes.
Opposed with no. The consent calendar is unanimously approved. Regular business item number 1 is the appointment of another year of Mr. Dennis Happel as the City of Waverly Fire Chief. This will be for the year of 2018. I'd ask Dennis to come forward to the mic. You can stay there until you're officially approved, but then I'm going to ask Dennis to say a few words. A motion, please.
Move approval of the appointment of Dennis Apples as fire chief for 2018.
Second, please.
Second.
Motion seconded, council discussion. All in favor signify with yes.
Yes.
Opposed with no, unanimously approved. This is an important position for the public, and that's why I've asked Dennis just to share a few words of, just maybe put us in perspective as we go into 2018.
Well, like I told the mayor when he said I should say a few words, I'm not much of a preacher, but I would like to thank all the firefighters, the volunteer firefighters of Waverly and their families. They put in a tremendous amount of hours and a tremendous amount of effort to keep the city of Waverly safe. And we're all volunteer. And so when they leave their jobs, they're firemen. And when they're not there, they're family people. So, yeah, they deserve the city's thank you for everything they do. I would also like to thank the city staff. Without you guys, our job would be one heck of a lot harder. You provide us with some fantastic equipment. You're behind us all the way, and that is immeasurable on a volunteer fire department. We hear stories all over the state of departments and councils that don't get along, and it's never a good situation. And so everything you guys do for us, thank you very much. It is very much appreciated. We have a great city, people who care, and that's what makes this all work. We had our convention in 16, and we have it again this year in 18. The volunteers have put forth a great effort, and they have contributed a great amount of money back towards city purchases for air masks, things that we needed to update our equipment. And so they're a caring bunch, and they give a lot, and we appreciate everything they do, but we also appreciate everything the city does and the citizens of Waverly for all their support, because without that, none of this works. And so to everybody, thank you very much.
Thank you, and nice to have you as the chief one more year.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dennis. Regular business item number 2 is the purchase of a cage drive for our wastewater complex. City administrator, for the public, a little background on this purchase might be helpful.
Yes, sir. We have had a clarifier, which is what it's called. We have 2 of them in the sewer system itself. One of them has failed, and it has failed numerous times in the last year to the point where we can no longer repair, we can no longer continue to keep this one going. Mike's got some information as well we're going to put up. The fear is we only have the 2, and then the second one is also 37 years old, same as this one is. And if it were to fail, we would be out of compliance probably within about a week for DNR, et cetera. So we are looking to go ahead and purchase one of the cage drives, as they call it. The manufacturer that originally made it does not exist anymore. There are no parts for it. We could get one maybe fabricated or welded for probably about half the price, but it may only last 4 or 5 years at best. We're hoping to get 20 to 30 years at least out of the new one that we're going to have. So again, not an area we like to have a lot of issues with or have any failure in. So being there's only 2 to start with and one's down, we're looking to move forward to try and quickly as we can get this purchased and installed, because the other one is doing double time now. And at that age, we're not sure how long it will last. So that's the basics. Mike, if you want to add any comments, that would be helpful with the map especially.
Well, I heard there was a lot of interest in this, but I'm amazed at the turnout.
Sewer system's kind of important. People want to know. I mean,
This is very important.
I need to use
And,
the toilets later.
this is an opportunity to share with the council, as well as the audience and the community that's watching, what our wastewater treatment facility does. And this is an overview of our facility that's over by the soccer complex, and the raw sewage that comes in first heads to the primary clarifiers. And what you'll see in a wastewater treatment facility is a lot of redundancy, because you have to be able to take things out of service in order to do routine maintenance and the like with them. This is a facility that runs 24/7, 365 days a year. The primary clarifiers is where the raw sewage comes in, and anything that sinks or floats is skimmed off, and then it moves up to the trickling filters, then to another clarifier, and then to, these are referred to as rotating biological contact filters. And then they go to the final clarifiers, and then it is, the treated water is then, help me out, Stuart. We have UV disinfection before it goes to the river. Now, anything that sinks or floats in these clarifiers is skimmed off and it goes into the digesters here, and this is one of the final treatment processes. We're creating methane gas, and that methane gas is captured and used in the facility in a boiler to heat the plant as well as improve the treatment process. So it is this west primary clarifier that is in a failed condition right now. This is a view of the tank when it's empty, and you can see there's a skimmer bar up high that skims things that float off the surface of the water, and then down below we have a skimmer that scrapes material off the bottom of the tank and directs it into the center where it is then transferred to one of the digesters. It is the mechanism that turns this skimmer unit that has failed. So up on top here, it's kind of hard to see, but this one is the east primary. This is active. These things do not rotate very fast. I don't know if it takes, about 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. So 3 rotations per hour. But it is 38 feet in diameter, and it just moves very slowly, skimming material off the top as well as the bottom of the tank. So we're down to 1. We've been in this situation for about 6 months. We had an issue about a year ago. What they do, they're very good at it, is troubleshooting and diagnosing. They thought they had it resolved, repaired, filled the tank back up again, and then they had another failure. Further, so we expand the dismantling and investigation process, and the bearing systems in this mechanism is totally failed. We've looked at, so we've gone from looking at repairing to rehabbing. Rehabbing, we've contacted local fabrication companies. The best we can come up with that anyone would guarantee is basically about a 5-year fix that would kind of limp us along. Inevitably, we are going to have to look at replacing the drive mechanism on this clarifier. So our dilemma is that, being 38 years old, the original manufacturer of the drive is no longer in business. The company's been sold. They no longer make this. But the company that has acquired and taken over says that they're able to come up here and retrofit and modify a drive unit that we have on one of the, similar to the final clarifiers, that they're able to use one of these because it's a newer unit, but they're going to have to come up and modify it to fit on the 38-year-old unit.
Well,
So does that inspire any questions?
That's a lot. No, I appreciate
I do have our senior wastewater operator here, so if there's anything that is beyond my ability to answer, I'm going to ask Stuart to
This
come up
is a
and fill you in.
different part of the system than the one we're needing to replace in the next 5 years, 6 years, right? With the trickling, the towers are the ones that we're looking at replacing, trickling.
That's correct. The trickling filters on the south end here are going to be replaced, but the clarifiers are going to be around for another half century.
I have a question, just kind of to understand this better and for future reference. In the materials that we got, it says that the replacement was not anticipated or budgeted. And if we have 2 that are the same age, and we rely on that redundancy, how is it that it wasn't anticipated or budgeted? Or what do we do going forward? I mean, it seems like it's a little bit of a precarious situation right now.
Sure, you have a 38-year-old facility that has a lot of redundancy in it. And We do have the ability that when a system like this goes down, we have the opportunity to go in and investigate it, diagnose it, and determine what type of fix needs to be done. The trickling filters, that whole treatment process was becoming a concern, and it was in 2013, 14 that we did basically did a very specialized study on the remaining life within the trickling filters, and it was a risk analysis and determined what type of life expectancy do we have left, what types of failures could occur, and how do we go about maximize the remaining life of that operation. And we are to the point where we need to pull the trigger on that project, and that's we're going to be putting that into motion here very soon. It's going to be a 4-year process to identify the funding, go through the design, secure the regulatory permits and construction permits through the DNR, and then it's a 2-year construction project. So this is a little bit different. It's the failure of a pump or motor. It's certainly that it's on our radar screen that, yes, the other one is 38 years old, and so in the next 3 to 5 years, we may look at just simply going ahead and programming the replacement before there is a failure.
Because, yeah, I understand the trickling filters, but if the remaining cage drive that is functioning were not working right now, let's say something happened, what would that mean?
We would probably within a week be in violation of our discharge permit.
So is there an age difference? Will there be an age? Well, I guess because this is being retrofitted, is there enough of an age and wear difference between the two that gives us a little bit more longevity, I guess, for lack of a better term?
For the second one, no, and that's where probably within, given the failure that occurred here, with the other one being the same brand, same model, constructed at the same time, we'd probably be looking at in the next 3 to 5 years scheduling the replacement of that drive.
And then is there a longer range schedule for replacement, or do we just react to?
Well, again, there's a lot of redundancy, and so we do that risk analysis assessment and identify things that we maybe should be looking at programming for maintenance repair versus ones that we can react to. Most of the stuff we have the opportunity to be somewhat reactionary, again, through our routine maintenance. We have an idea when things start to become more problematic, and that gets it on the radar screen and time to replace versus continuing trying to repair it.
Thanks.
Let's go to a motion that we can talk. Motion, please.
I move approve the purchase and replacement of the 31-inch cage drive from West Tech Engineering Incorporated of Salt Lake City, Utah, for the quoted price of $32,000 or $32,010 plus shipping.
I'll second that.
For the rest primary clarifier. That's okay. Second, please.
Second.
Council discussion?
So if this is not budgeted, then where will we take the $32,000 from?
Well, we have cash reserves to
Oh,
address
that's right, that was in
situations
there.
like
Yep,
this. yes.
thanks, sorry. I read that actually and forgot it.
Or council?
Sounds like we got to do it. And things wouldn't necessarily wear the same, I'm assuming, and so forth, differences in gear drives and such, so.
We're hoping the double load this one's having on now doesn't have it go out before this one gets here. So if that happens, at least we have a new one to hold, and then we go through the same process, but
Would
yeah,
there
if we
be
get a
any,
new
would
one.
there be any benefit of ordering two right away as far as a cost analysis or cost benefit? You know you're gonna have to replace it eventually. If they have to custom make this, chances are they could probably, I won't say tool up or a fixture or anything like that to manufacture it. It may be faster for them, cheaper for them to do two at once.
We could look at a price break and see if there's one for getting two at a time instead.
We can, I guess, what I'm looking at is when they come up and work on the one, we'll have a very good idea of how to address the second one. There's going to be a lag time between getting this one back into service before you can take the second one out of service. That doesn't happen overnight.
I didn't say do them both at the same time, and say have them both have the equipment here, so when the other one does fail, then you're not waiting for it to be manufactured.
We'll check into that.
See if we can get a price break for two instead of one. We'll do that.
Or council input? Public input to influence the vote. All in favor signify with yes.
Yes.
Opposed with no, unanimously approved. Regular business item number 3 is the final pay on our sidewalk repairs for the year. This includes a change of order. Let's go directly to a motion.
I'll move Resolution 17-140, a resolution approving change order number 1 with a net decrease of $7,675.36 and accepting the city-wide sidewalk repairs 2016 project as complete with a final pay request of $5,546.66 to Feldman Concrete of Dyersville, Iowa.
Second, please.
Second.
Motion seconded. Council discussion.
I guess my question would be, we split Waverly into 7 sections, and then this is the 7th and final year of going through each of those different parts of town and replacing the bad parts of the sidewalk. What's the next step, or is that up to the next? Are we gonna re-go through each year, each section, and look for new problems every 7 years, or?
Yes, it's an ongoing inspection repair program. What had been discussed was when we start making our second round that we would address gaps in the sidewalk system. So you may have a continuous system, but there may be one lot in the block that doesn't have sidewalk for whatever reason. So this was the second round where we were going to start identifying those and looking for input from the council and the public.
For more infill in the actual city parts, where we've been looking at infill of the subdivisions, and now this will be a chance to look at some sidewalk infill within the actual city itself.
Yes, where there are existing homes.
Yep.
Other comments? Public input. Roll call vote, please.
Gade.
Yes.
Kangas.
Yes.
Lampy.
Yes.
McKenzie.
Yes.
Resnicek.
Yes.
Share.
Yes.
Waldstein.
Yes.
Resolution 17-140 is unanimously approved. Regular business item number 4 is to approve the final assessments to private properties for their sidewalk maintenance improvement program. Let's go directly to a motion on this one as well.
Move Resolution 17-141, a resolution approving the final assessment schedule for the 2017 sidewalk maintenance and inspection program.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second?
Motion and seconded. Thank you. Council discussion on this item. Public input on this item. A roll call vote, please.
Kangas.
Yes.
Lampy.
Yes.
McKenzie.
Yes.
Resnicek.
Yes.
Share.
Yes.
Waldstein.
Yes.
Gade.
Yes.
Resolution 17-141 is unanimously approved. 2 mayoral appointments for this evening. One is Bob Buckingham for the Electric Utilities Board. The other is Paula Stevenson to the Economic Development Commission. Is there a motion, please?
I'll move the approval of the mayoral appointments.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion seconded. Council discussion. All in favor signify with yes.
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 Opposed with no, unanimously approved. We have 2 boards and commissions to report in on minutes. First, the Planning and Zoning from November 2nd. Any comments on planning and zoning? Then officially received, we have the Senior Center calendar for December. Any comments on them? They are officially received. Staff comments.
I don't believe we have any tonight, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Then I'd ask for city council comments. We just go right around the horn. Edie?
I don't have any.
Hey, Dan?
First and foremost, I'd like to thank all the citizens of Waverly for extending me the opportunity to represent, the privilege and their confidence to represent them over the last 3 years. The overwhelming support I've received is deeply appreciated, especially during the past month or so. I'm amazed and extremely humbled at the extraordinary number of encouraging, supporting phone calls, emails, and comments that I've received. The past 3 years have been an experience and education I won't soon forget. I'd like to congratulate our mayor-elect, Dean Soash, for his runoff election victory on December 5th, and look forward to his leadership. Also, I'd like to extend my congratulations to new council members. And I would also like to thank city staff for all the preparation and efforts they dedicate for these meetings. They have provided a great deal of support by responding to questions and requests for documentation, and their hard work and dedication is very much appreciated. James, I said once before that we picked the best man for the job. I appreciate your professionalism, broad knowledge, direct, honest approach, and your ability to see the big picture when considering the condition of our city. Please continue to accurately communicate your assessment and recommendations to our new mayor and our new council, and the burden of proof always lies with you. Be absolutely sure that you can deliver on any decision the council approves, and you may have to tell them things they don't want to hear at times. Please give them the tools they need to make the right decisions. I was recently thanked by an individual from state government that taking my fiduciary duties seriously. To be honest, I wasn't totally clear of the meaning of the word fiduciary, and I was not totally clear on the pronunciation either, so I looked it up. So fiduciary is an individual in whom another has placed an utmost trust and confidence to manage and protect property or money. The relationship wherein one person has an obligation to act in another's benefit. A fiduciary relationship encompasses the idea of faith and confidence and is generally established only when the confidence given by one person is actually accepted by the other. Mere respect for another's individual judgment or general trust in his or her character is ordinarily insufficient for creation of a fiduciary relationship. The duties of a fiduciary include loyalty and reasonable care with the assets within custody. All of the fiduciary's actions are performed at the advantage of the beneficiary. If that doesn't sum up our roles as council people, I don't know what does. So just to be clear, when I have asked questions, challenged, researched, and presented my ideas, understand that those actions were never intended to be disrespectful or malicious. What has always driven me to make decisions and work toward what is right for the entire community, not just a select few. Waverly can no longer allow our citizens to shoulder the burden of financially supporting the few select privileged organizations or individuals. We will no longer stand by while special interests pillage our community with complete disregard for our residents who struggle to meet their own financial responsibilities. If I have done nothing over the course of the last 3 years, I'd hope that I have driven conversations and behaviors that have caused others to think about things differently, to not always take the easiest path and not to always accept the status quo. Once we relegate ourselves to doing things because this is how we've always done it, or other cities do it this way, I think we're in dangerous territory. There are consequences associated with this mentality. Waverly citizens have high hopes in our incoming mayor and council members, and we rightfully expect you to responsibly promote and protect the interests of the entire community. Your decisions must be made on quantifiable information and data, as citizens clearly communicated 2 weeks ago. They have little patience for maintaining the status quo. You have many challenges ahead in order to correct mistakes and address the complacency that led to the situation we find ourselves in. If you fulfill your responsibilities to our community, By deliberating carefully and intelligently before making decisions, you will be respected and appreciated. If you do not, your term will undoubtedly be temporary. We are blessed with an incredible community made up of hardworking people that deserve a city that strives to be the best it can be. Our citizens deserve council representation that strives to deliver the highest quality of life while experiencing a low cost of living. Waverly should be the first choice as individuals decide where to reside and raise a family, or businesses determine where to locate or expand. Residents fully expect city leadership to be highly responsive to the needs and concerns of Waverly citizens and resoundingly reject the temptation of complacency that comes with being average or in the middle. Our city leadership needs to have the tough conversations and make the definitive actions required that will position this city to achieve excellence in every way, remembering always that good is the enemy of great.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Resnick?
I don't know how to follow that. Yeah, and appreciate that. I appreciate the service. And I guess I want to say, just in a lighter, or not a lighter note, but when I was first thinking about getting on council and I saw council members sitting around looking at these screens, I always wondered what's in those. What are they looking at? And I realized really it's nothing. I mean, it's everyone out here. We really have nothing about the people. But so I've tried to approach my time on council in that way, that what's on the screen is really just a representation of the people. So I want to thank the citizens for putting their trust in me 4 years ago. At first, I'd like to thank staff and everything they do, every department. I've learned a lot. I've had the ability to ride with policemen that I didn't before, and I've witnessed what they do. We see people keeping their lights on 24 hours a day. We see water spewing out of the street, and we see them fixing it. When we're in the house and trying to keep our hands warm, they're outside fixing that. I've seen staff work to put budgets together. I've seen economic development folks trying to make our town better. I've seen, and I'm missing a whole lot of people, but there's a lot that goes on here, and I'm glad I've had a part of it. And I've seen parks, when I golf on the golf course, if I get a chance, it's perfect grass, and that's, people take time to do that. The parks that we enjoy, there's people doing that. So I guess that's what comes out of this screen. So I want to thank the citizens for putting their trust in me 4 years ago. I'm so humbled to have the opportunity to serve Waverly in this way. There's really a lot of ways people can get involved, and this was kind of a unique thing that I wanted to try. I wanted to do something different and get involved. And in many cases, I've had the opportunity to be a voice for people that either were too afraid to come or just didn't feel comfortable. And I feel humbled that they put their trust in me in that way. I don't want to take credit for anything that I've done. I don't feel that's appropriate. We don't accomplish anything alone. The people accomplish it. Waverly citizens accomplish everything that goes on in this town. I'm glad I was had a part in that in this kind of a special way. Recently there's been a lot of discussion about unity or divisiveness, and that it needs to be fixed. From my perspective, council does not define Waverly. Council does not determine if there's unity. The people do. Council voting unanimously does not define Waverly as united. What council member says about another, council member does not define that person. What defines a person as a council member is their support of citizens. I find Waverly to be quite united. Go to a high school football game, you're going to see unity there. Go to a band concert, you're going to see unity there. Recently the Christmas on Main, the experience, the unity that was happening there with the businesses downtown and the citizens enjoying. The summer during Heritage Days or the county fair, there's unity all around us. So I find there's nothing to fix except for all of us to work hard every day to make what unifies people better and to listen to the divisiveness that also exists. We need to learn from that. Whether it's what makes up a cost of living, or utility rates, or budgets, priority of projects, economic development strategies. The paper said it best, I feel, that in a recent article, that the council's been divided on supporting the citizens versus supporting staff. There's a place for unity on these topics if not representing the citizens or continuing to challenge how he can be the best, will drive complacency, settling for the status quo, and cause Waverly to be less competitive. So I congratulate the new mayor and the new council. My hope for that team going forward is to work really hard to unite around the needs of the citizens. Let's make sure we're providing the atmosphere where citizens feel comfortable to have a voice, where anyone feels the freedom to challenge the status quo, to support making Waverly great. So I thank you for allowing me to sit up here, and I hope to continue to be involved in different ways going forward. Thank you.
Pro Temp?
I was going to just check on a couple of business things with the holidays coming up here with Christmas next week. So City Hall will be closed on Monday, Tuesday as well, or are we open Tuesday?
We are open Tuesday, I believe.
And then
We're closed Friday.
Friday, Monday.
Friday, and then the Monday after that? Oh, closed Friday this week.
Yes.
Right.
And then the Friday and the Monday as well, over the first as well.
So garbage and recycling will be picked up on Thursday for the Friday residents.
Okay.
And Monday will be picked up Tuesday.
And that's for the next 2 weeks. Because we have Christmas next week and then the first.
Is a Monday for, right, so
We're open
we're
that
closed
Friday.
on the 1st, and garbage will be picked up on Tuesday.
On the second, so those that are on Monday will have, the next 2 Tuesdays are for them. Okay. That's all I had.
Okay, thanks, Tim. Mike?
Just a word of appreciation for the service of our outgoing mayor, the 2 terms that he has served. I thought the lengthy piece in the Waverly paper in tribute of his work was really appropriate. If you haven't read that, I think probably you should. And just one other thing that's a little bit whimsical. It appears to me that Mr. Bronner and Mr. Werger have swapped identities tonight. I'm curious to know why that happened.
Nobody paid attention except you.
Checking on you guys. I'm just glad to know that you're still who you say you are.
Let me see.
Dan?
I can't top that, so.
Yep. I didn't prepare any, write anything down because that's kind of how I flow. So, but what Dan and Dave both said, I second wholeheartedly. Everything they said was pretty much on the money, in my opinion. So, as Dave said too, sitting up here is different than sitting out there. I followed city council and city goings very closely for many years. I was a guest council person twice. When you get up here, you realize that there's a lot more work behind everything that goes on. There's a lot of time involved with it. Not only do we have 3 meetings a month that usually don't last 43 minutes, they go well over 2 hours sometimes, or 3 hours, and that's time away from your family and children on Monday nights and things like that. There's also time during the week that you do a lot of things and have to do research and studying and take phone calls from citizens, and citizens stop you at Walmart and Hy-Vee and Fairway and Quick Star and everywhere else in between. So, I got my start. I was lucky enough to, the current council person in my spot here moved out of the ward, and council decided to appoint someone, and I was lucky enough to get that position, and nice enough to have Councilman Kangas and Councilman McKenzie give me their votes to let me sit up here and have a whole year where I could prove who I was to the community before I ran for council. And then when I got to run, and I ran on what I ran on, which was a lot of what Dave and Dan talked about, is just being there for citizens, always putting citizens first, worrying about cost of living, asking tough questions, things like that just come along with the job. Something that everyone should do instead of being criticized for. That's what you should do as a person. Hopefully you do that at your own jobs and your own homes and your own lives. is you ask questions and you look for answers, and that's what we do. So having that whole year where I got to serve, then when I went to run, it was much easier to get elected because everybody knew that I would do what I said I was going to do because I could prove that first year. So it's been an honor. I've been here for 5 whole years, two different city administrators, a couple different council members along the way, different mayors. And so it's been interesting 5 years. We've done a lot of big things up here and gone through a lot of back and forth and things like that. And, one thing I'd mention too is, like everyone else has brought up, everyone loves to talk about how Waverly is divided and council has problems and this and that. And they've been saying that for all 5 years that I've been on council. It's not new. It wasn't new before I was on council, and it's not new now either. So I don't know why it's such a big deal, but if you have a government where something comes up and every single person agrees on it and every single vote is 7-0, I think that would be a problem. I think you want a government where people ask questions and not everyone does see everything the exact same way. And maybe there are disagreements because that draws discussion back and forth. And the goal of that is to find a middle ground and somewhere where we can come together. And I think sometimes as a council or as leadership and stuff that coming together didn't always happen. We had to choose one or the other, and that's what happens in your life too. I mean, you maybe have a job and you get offered another job and you got to choose one or the other. You have 2 houses that you want, you have to choose one or the other. You can't have a combination of both always in your life. So nothing's ever perfect, but we do the best that we can. And I know I've always done the best that I could when I'm up here these last 5 years, 3 Mondays a month, all the time. So really in ending, I just want to thank my family, who most of them are here tonight. It's one thing for when have something said about you as a person. I don't, stuff bounces off me. I don't get affected by it. I don't care what people say about me. Never have, never really will. I do really appreciate the good comments that I have gotten from people over the years. These last 2 weeks in particular have been just insane, really, because I have gotten phone calls from people I don't even know, I've never heard of in 5 years, thanking me for what I do, say how proud they are of me. I went to, my daughter Sally was in the Nutcracker at Wartburg, and I had 3 people stop me on Wartburg's campus and thank me for what I do just last week. So these last 2 weeks have really, out of all the 5 years, have just proven to me that there are so many people out there that support what I do and appreciate what I do. And means a lot to me, so I want to thank them for that. And I know that's hard on my family. It's easy for you to take something yourself, but when it's your son or it's your brother or it's your father, and you hear things from citizens or you hear things from members of council, or you may overhear city staff say something about you when you sit behind them as a 10-year-old girl, it's a lot harder for them to take than it is for me. So I appreciate that, and my daughter Sally that's there. Sorry. This is why I don't write things down, I guess. It's been 5 long years that I've missed a lot of Mondays with my daughter, and I just can't wait to get back to her. I get to be with her every Monday again that I have her, and I appreciate her because she's my daughter knows more about what goes on in the city of Waverly than any 11-year-old in the United States of America. And unfortunately, she is on social media. She reads everything. She knows everything. She watches every council meeting. She sits here in the audience and watches council meetings and has since she was, 6 years old through 11. So she has heard and said everything that everyone has said good and bad about me. And she's put up with that, and she's put up with me not being there for her. I missed her band concert tonight, that I didn't get to go see because I put Waverly first on that. So sometimes people question whether I made every single meeting or not. Sometimes I chose to be with my daughter because, sometimes your family's more important than a few things that are on the agenda. And sometimes my daughter has something going on that I just need to be at. And sometimes she just needed me to be at home with her, and that's what I chose to do. So people question my attendance. You can ask my daughter about that, and I think she'll give you a good answer. So that's enough for me. I'm not going to cry anymore because that's stupid. So I just want to thank everyone again. It's been a privilege to serve Waverly. I'm not going anywhere. I was born and bred in Waverly guy my whole life. Waverly, to me, is, the greatest town that I've ever been to. Ever growing up here was just amazing. I mean, growing up in Waverly is a privilege that children, I don't think, understand that they know that they have until they grow up here and then they see other towns. It's just truly an amazing place. And I look forward to staying here and being involved as much as I can, but being able to stay home and spend more time with my daughter. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you. First, I'd like to also say thank you, but I'd like to say that this was a wonderful evening of being council because you see us as human beings first and not as decision makers only. And the need is always to do two things. One is to see others in the best light possible. And when we see others in the best light possible, to be secure enough not to react when we're criticized and not to attack, but to pull together and try to understand. If we're under attack, it's best to move up to 30,000 feet and see that person as a human being with needs and cares and wants. And that's what we have as a town quality. It's part of the small town norm of civility. And I hope I brought some nobility to the role of mayor in doing all of that. The result is always measured in energy. And does the town have energy? It does if we're affirming each other. The divisions de-energize. And we've been both, but we've been primarily a town with energy. So proud that we have a reputation in the state that's skyrocket high. This is the place to be. Because of quality of life, but it's more than that. It's that bond we have with each other, that we could be upfront, be who we are, and be affirmed. The applause of each council person means the world to me because we are people first. And this person will be gaveling for the last time in a couple of seconds, but I will say that it's been a wonderful time because you have created the energy for the town to move forward. May we continue to get the awards. It's nice to be the #1 town in Iowa for young families. It's nice to be the 4th best quality community in the nation because we're close to Waterloo. But it's how we treat each other that is the real defining quality of our life on earth and in this town. So it is a great honor to have the 4 years with leadership as the mayor, and I'm happy for Dean and looking forward to his leadership. What happens with the next round will also define us. Yes, we've had a great 4 years, and we've kind of skyrocketed, and we're all becoming something special. But it'll depend. We have to unite for the new mayor, too. We have a wonderful council coming in. Thank every council person who has served. But I also, as I said in the paper, I want to thank families. Put up for a lot, because at home we're trying to iron out our own definitions of the divides and et cetera and how we differ with each other. But in the end, we affirm each other. The affirmations tonight were there, and as best everybody could. And it gives us a great momentum to give to the new council people, any of them who are here, and to our next mayor, and we'll be chairing a united town. I think that's pretty clear. And with that, we'll have a great future, and I'll have a great town to live in from this point forward. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Move adjourn.
Second, please. All in favor signify with yes.
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 Adjourned.